Hello everyone, it's a beautiful morning on Off the Press. Welcome to the show. I'm Tokunbo Taiwo and it's the fourth day of fasting. We say Ramadan Mubarak to all of our Muslim viewers. Thanks for joining us. With me this morning to discuss the major headlines on the dailies is our political analyst Ugochukwu Ikeakor. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's always good to sort of have you because I think you're a regular now on Off the Press. So thank you very much indeed for that. All right. We've got a number of newspapers as usual. The regulars, The Punch. We've got This Day. We've got Vanguard, and we've got The Nation. And then if we've got time, we're also going to be looking at this Complete Sports, and that will be with our in-house analyst. One of them, I'll let you know when that time comes who our analyst for the sports segment will be. We'll start with The Punch, the major headline. Before I do the major headline, let's roll that up onto the screen. The major headline at the top of the Punch newspaper, we're starting with undeclared crude. Federal government loses 11, no, that's not 11, it's 114.8 million suits against Ajib and Brass Oil. That story is on page 38. And underneath that, we've got Presidential Election Tribunal promises justice for all. And that's on the left-hand side there at the top of the Punch newspaper on the left-hand side, and that story is on page 16. On the right-hand side, in the top right-hand corner, we've got Ganduje reduces Sanusi's influence, breaks Kano Emirate into 5. The story is on page 7. The major headline is in the middle there, the evil I feared in PDP has befallen me 10 times in APC, and that's Okorocha talking there. The full story is on page 7. Let's look at the bottom of the Punch newspapers. We've got a number of pictures at the bottom of the Punch newspapers, and the headline for those pictures are 3 NLC members hospitalized as thugs attack anti-Ngige protesters. That story is on page 16. Underneath that headline, we've got in the bottom left-hand corner, bandits kill 82-year-old district head in Sokoto and 11 in Taraba. That's Taraba State, page 21. And in the middle there, at the bottom of the Punch newspapers, in red, we can see residents accuse policeman of killing motorcycle rider. The details are available on pages 4 and 5. And in the bottom right-hand corner of the Punch newspapers, we've got Nigeria's electoral law problematic, says INEC chairman. That story is on page 20. Let's start with the major headline, Ugochukwu. The evil I feared in PDP has befallen me 10 times in APC, and that's Okorocha talking. Do you think that's really the case?
Well, over the last few weeks, since the election was over a couple of weeks back, Rochas Okorocha has been in a huge battle with the APC. Despite the fact that INEC declared him winner of the senatorial district within his constituency in Imo State, there was sort of an arrangement where INEC had to take his certificate of return back.
Yes.
And he has been complaining that that is done with the leaders, with the leadership of the APC.
Shomole and some of the top leaders.
For me, I think INEC has declared him winner. And he was given a certificate of return, and that was collected back. I don't think that the law permits that to happen. So what will happen is that since already he has been declared, is INEC telling us that they're going to conduct another election in Imo State, because the people within this senatorial zone, they need a representative in the next couple of weeks. So if there is an issue, all right, because during the election period, we know that I think the reg within that zone was kind of arrested and kept somewhere else and was forced. And as he came out to say that he was forced to do something that was against the law. What should have happened is not taking the certificate from him, because INEC themselves called him the winner. They declared him the winner. So there is no locus at this point for INEC to say, okay, I want to take the certificate back from him. If you've declared him winner, whereas at that point there was evidence of malpractice, even your official down in Imo State said, okay, something was wrong, and you all went out, you could have cancelled the election at that moment and called him for a fresh one. But that didn't happen. And now what INEC is doing and what is happening to him is sad.
Yes.
It's sad for our democracy.
So do you think by any chance that, APC is actually disregarding INEC, and that, that's a slap to the face of INEC in regards to what they have just done.
Well, I think as it stands at the moment, from what he said that the leadership of the party is working with INEC, frustrate him, that what he has feared in PDP has befallen him. I think sometimes the problem with most of our political leaders, they do things because they just want to do it. All right, he entered into this alliance, and because at the point he was the darling of the APC, he was doing some things for them, and his leadership style was so poor. He was known for commissioning statues and the rest of them. He owed people salaries for a long while, and the party didn't say anything about this. All right, so for them it was all good, it was all fun. It was their darling, it was like their number one bride in Southeast.
And then all of a sudden,
they are having issues. All right, because he wants to go to the National Assembly. I don't think it's for the people, for his district member to improve their life, because he didn't do much as a governor. He didn't do that as a governor. So he's going there to embezzle more money. So and he had issues with them already, because at a point when his son-in-law lost the governorship ticket for APC, he supported him in another party. So I think, and the party suspended him because of that. So his problem is much because at this point he is known for anti-party activities. And I think coming on the pages of newspaper to say that what has befallen him, I think APC is not in that frame of mind. Let me put it that way, to listen to him at this point, because number one, he's no longer there.
Let me ask you, sorry, Ugochukwu, sorry to cut in there. Do you actually think, because he actually mentioned like Adams Oshomole's name, and then he said some leaders as well in the APC, do you think they're actually trying to sabotage his political career by doing this?
His political career is sabotaged already.
Yeah.
So because number one, he has lost out.
No, what I'm saying is that, okay, do you think that from what he's saying, that Adams Oshomole and the APC top leaders, do you think they are part of, bringing him down?
He made allegations, and for him, that's what he said. And I don't think that is for him. I don't know. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But the truth is that for what we know at this point is that his political career as a politician in Imo State is over. Okay. Right? Because he lost the governorship seat to the opposition party. He can't go to the National Assembly because he's having issues with INEC and his party. So the much he can do is to go to court and seek redress and ask the court to interpret this thing rightly. All
right, Ugochukwu, thank you very much. Let's quickly move on to another headline before we wrap up on the punch. We've got 3 NLC members hospitalized as thugs attack anti-Ngige protesters. We haven't got a lot of time on this, so we need to move on to the next newspaper, but I want you to say 1 or 2 things about that headline.
I see, for what's happening within NSITF and the Minister of Labour is sad. Right? The presidency has given a go-ahead to make Frank Kokori as the chairman of NSITF. If there is an issue between Ngige and Kokori, it shouldn't be against what the presidency, what the executive has approved. Is wrong. The Minister of Labour is working for the presidency, and so far, what is happening? He's the Minister of Labour, and he's having issue with the people that is meant to assist, to lead, and to defend their plans and their objectives in this country. So what Ngige is doing is sad, and it shouldn't be accepted by anybody.
All right, thank you very much. We're moving on to this day newspapers now, and we're starting at the top. Eschew prejudicial public analysis. That's the by tribunal warns lawyers. That's the headline at the top of this day newspapers. And underneath that, it says fixes Wednesday for pre-hearing session on Atiku's petition, and women protest over PDP candidate. The full details are available on page 6. And underneath that, we've got NNPC. Nigeria generates over $180 billion from deep water operations. That story is on page 8. The major headline on this day newspapers is finally Ganduje moves against Sanusi, breaks Kano Emirate, signs bill caving out 4 new emirates. And at the bottom of this day newspapers, we've got a picture in the right-hand corner there, rebuilding the Northeast. Pictures of the chairman, Northeast Development Commission, Major General Paul Tafa, and the MD CEO, Alhaji Muhammad Alkali, at the inauguration of the commission in Abuja. On the left-hand side of this day newspaper at the bottom, we've got micro pension. Pencom targets 3 trillion naira assets and 20 million contributors. That story is on page 8. And underneath that, we've got C4-year report card of Team Buhari from 2015 to 2019, part 5, pages 18 to 21. Okay, let's quickly talk about this. This is quite an interesting, I think it's one of the biggest stories this morning. Finally, Ganduje moves against Sanusi and breaks Kano Emirate. What's your initial reaction?
Well, for me, I think what's happening in Kano, what's happening in Kano is not a good one, all right. And but there are backstory to this, which we might not have time to discuss. And as it seems, the Sanusi himself, that Lamido Sanusi, the Emir of Kano, has fallen out of favor with Ganduje, and it was rumored during the last governorship election that it wasn't his candidate; they was supporting the candidate of the PDP that lost with 7,000 plus votes. So I think this is a move against his influence, against his power. Yeah. But the interesting thing is that, you see, like I always say that APC is an amalgamation of different elements with all their different plans. Because it was this same Sanusi that used to be their darling a couple of years back. It was them that made it possible for him to be the ML.
I think that's what you call politics.
That's politics. And so sometimes it is not okay for people to have sympathy to people like this, because sometimes they know the alliance they're going into, all right? When Sanusi was the darling, he went into an alliance with them. See, it was there on the pages of newspaper, the key elements, like key political elements like Kwakwansa, that point I was in APC and Tinubu and the rest of it. They made it possible for him to be the MA a couple of years back. So and Kwankwaso went to PDP and he started. You see, he had the MA of Kano. He had some issues in the past where they went to probe him, but later there was some calls that made it easy for him to he passed that phase. So at this point, Ganduje, being knowing that I'm out of favor with this guy, and this guy didn't help my political ambition, and Ganduje himself, this was a man that was caught collecting money, like he was caught on camera, and the presidency didn't do anything against it. And the president went to Kano, supported him during the election and the rest of it. So you see, the whole thing is sad, and it's not good for democracy. At this point, his influence has been reduced
completely from all of his power to 5 different parts.
No, I think it's just like a random, because he's no longer the number one emir in Kano. So is for his influence and. Even within that place, because there's some money, there's some revenue that should have been accrued to him as ML. So already they've reduced that, and he can't do anything, because the interesting thing is that this is backed by law. Ganduje, people can say that he used it out of to spite him, but there was a law, and this was passed into law. He went through the legal process. So and that means that they can't
do anything about it.
The lawmakers in Kano State, if they're okay with it, that means they're saying the voice of the people. And for them, we just wish Sanusi well in his new position.
I wish we had time to discuss it, because there's so many things I want to touch on that Emirates thing, but unfortunately we're pushed for time. Let's quickly move on to Vanguard newspapers. Let's start from the top. We've got at the top of the Vanguard newspapers, we've got Buhari versus Atiku will be fair, fearless. Tribunal assures Nigerians, says parties will get equal opportunity. That story is on page 8. Next to that, we've got PDP kicks as Saraki, Magu, Tango over tenure probe. That story is on page 9. And on the top right-hand corner, we've got vehicles vandalized as another violent protest rocks Ibadan Poli. That story is on page 6. Underneath all of those headlines, we've got manufacturing sector survey points to difficult Q1 2019. That story is on page 19. Okay, if we look at the bottom of the screen there, we can see worsening insecurity. That's the major headline, with 34 killed in 4 states. And the number of riders underneath that says cult war claims 11 in Edo. Boko Haram attacks military base. Community kills 11 in Borno. Headsmen kill 11 in Taraba. Gunmen storm Sokoto community, kill monarch and raise the police station. Security agencies alone can't solve the problem, says police. Experts warn the federal government over ransom payment to kidnappers. Because of time, I'm going to quickly stop there. Let's quickly start talking about them now. One of the things that resonates with me with this headline is the number 11. 11, cult war claims 11 in Edo, community kills 11 in Borno, headsmen kill 11 in Taraba. Do you think that there's some kind of deliberate attempt, or there's something sinister? Because I don't understand why 11 will be predominant in these different states. Is that coincidence, or is this, do you think this is actually intentional?
Well, I think it's sad. We're talking about human lives. 11 in Edo, 11 in Borno, 11 in Taraba. And this shows the worsening security situation we have in the country. A few days back, the acting IG of police, he was at the National Assembly where he met the current Senate President and the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, where he said that the police, as an institution, they have issues, and that's why they've not been able to do their job. So my question is this. We've given you some resources. So what are you doing? What we have already? So if we're having issues in Edo, we're having court clashes, we're having security issues in Borno across the country, it shows that the security situation is worsening. And a few days back, when the president was coming into the country, he said that the IG is looking fit. That means he's doing his job. So you see that the people at the helm of affairs do not understand that security of life and property is the most important thing for you to do as a leader. And if you don't get this thing right, this thing will keep getting worse. And as it stands right now, the people at the helm of affairs, they do not understand what needs to be done, and it's sad. So the numbers, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's just when this thing happens, all right, killings happen. Now we might not know the number of people that will die at the end of the day. So it's sad because we're talking about human lives. At the end of the day, these families that have lost their loved one, they'll be devastated. Nothing's going to be done about it. Some of them might move into a mental situation that will affect their well-being as a people. So and we see communities, we see children that will grow up without having their parents. Yesterday, one of the top UN official came to Nigeria and she said that we have 1 million children. 1 million children that don't know their parents, scattered across all the IDP camps across the country. So you see, the security situation we have in this country is bad and it's affecting a lot of things. And if things continue that way, I think it will not go well for our country.
Okay, so back to my question again. 11, do you think that is coincidental or deliberate?
I think it has nothing to do with both. I think it's just a random account of killing, and at the end of the day, these are the number of people that these were reported, because at the end of the day, this is what they're saying, that these are the numbers of some people that died in the process. So I don't think it's deliberate in any way.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to the next newspaper. We've got the Nation newspaper next. At the top of the newspaper, on the left-hand side, we've got senators push for 2011 rules to pick officers, page 6, and underneath that we've got Osun, Oyetola, Adeleke, others no fate today. That story is also on page 6. To the right-hand side, at the top of the Nation newspaper, we've got Kano gets 4 more Emirates, Kwara permanent secretary, others detained. MTN may list on exchange next week. Awoniyi eyes Liverpool return. Those stories are available on pages 41 and 47. That's on the top right-hand corner of the Nation newspaper. Now, looking at the major headline, the Nation newspaper, we've got Buhari versus Atiku, tribunal warns against comments. Underneath that, we've got Olanipekun, Fagbemi, Usman, Uzoku pledge to abide by panel's rules. And at the bottom of the Nation newspapers, we've got on the left-hand side, deep water operations fetch Nigeria $180 billion. Okay, let's start with Buhari versus Atiku. The tribunal warns against comments. What's your view on this? Should they be warning against people making comments?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a step in the right direction, because what they're trying to preempt is that we don't want a situation where both parties will go to the press or say something that will conflict what we're doing. So the election tribunal is handling a very sensitive job at the moment, and tensions are flamed up in the country. A lot of people are not happy with how the process went down. But the truth is this: the courts should be allowed to do their process. Politicians shouldn't say things that are inflammatory, all right? Because the way we are in this country, we have what I call a fragile peace, and you don't want to say comments that are inciting, comments that will be provoking, that will make people to go all out to do things that are not nice, that is against the constitution, against the land. So the best thing that will happen is for both parties, allow their lawyers to do the job, allow the tribunal to interpret the proceedings based on the evidence that they have with them, and hopefully that they will do the right thing and make the right call. But as it stands, this is the right call. I think it's good. It's important for the politician to understand that, okay, let's allow the tribunal to do their job. Let's not say anything in the news, or anything that will be inflammatory, anything that will provoke, anything that will derail the whole process or make the process so people to doubt the sanctity of the process as well.
Okay, all right. Let's quickly touch on this before we move on to the next newspaper. Osun, Oyetola, Adeleke, others new fates today. Just summarizing like 60 seconds or so, what your take on that is.
Well, for the people in the PDP, I think they will be hopeful for a good judgment. Already the lower court made it easy for them to celebrate. But at the end of the day, we don't know what the court will decide later today. But as it stands, if we're going to go what we've seen over the last few days, from nowhere, Adeleke was arrested, and he was able to get bail. His lawyers were able to get him out on bail. So it seems that PDP might take this one, but till till the court decide. I think already they have a good case. They've gotten a good judgment from the lower court. Now it's now for the appeal court to decide, okay, will this man be the next governor of Osun State, or will Oyetola continue?
All right, let's move on to the next newspaper now. We've got The Guardian, and the major headline on The Guardian newspaper is Abiola Abacha ghosts rise as Labour fights for Kokori. Okay, and at the bottom of The Guardian newspaper, we've got Ganduje cuts Sanusi's influence, splits Kano Emirate into 5. We've already talked about that story. Okay, so let's see. The major headline basically is that one on the screen. Abiola Abacha ghosts rise as Labour fights for Kokori. Okay, let's talk about that before we round up.
I think it's a sensational headline.
Okay.
For me, there is nothing. Kokori did what he did as a Labour leader back then a couple of years back. As it stands right now, as a country, we should try as much as possible to stand for what the law say. If the presidency has approved this guy to say, okay, make him the chairman of NSITF, I don't see any reason why a minister that you claim to work with the president himself, will go against what the president. So it shows you there's a lot of
they're not in alignment.
They're not in alignment with each other. So there is no way they can have a policy that will work for the people, because if we're having these issues and the Labour themselves, these are the people that you're supposed to represent as the Minister of Labour, and thugs. They're fighting with thugs in front of your house or close to your house. So it doesn't all go well for Christian, because we're in a country where politicians don't reap the benefit, the consequences of their actions. They might come out of this thing better, stronger as a politician, and go out to do other things. But it is poor, and people should condemn it, because it doesn't make sense for you to refuse to do an assignment that was given to you by the same person that employed you. So it doesn't make sense in any way.
All right, I think we're going to leave it there now. Thank you very much, Ugochukwu Ikeakor.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we've been listening to our political analyst on the program Off the Press. We're going to take a quick break now. When we return, we'll be discussing sports with our in-house analyst. I'll be telling you who that is right after the break. Welcome back. You're watching Off the Press right here on Plus TV Africa, where the big stories live. Yes, and we're bringing you sports next, and we've got our in-house analyst right here, and we have Samson Oloyede, who is joining us to discuss complete sports. Hi, Samson.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Are you ready to dig in?
Always ready.
Okay, excellent. So we've got complete sports. Let me just take us through the major headlines, and then we can then talk about one or two of them. So we've got complete sports here, and the major headline is it's Tottenham versus Liverpool, the final. Lucas Moura hat-trick sends Spurs into an all-England battle for UCL title. And there's also the results for Ajax and Tottenham match, which is 2-3, Ajax 2 and Tottenham 3. And at the bottom of complete sports, we've got on the left-hand side PFA to protest Iheanacho racist abuse after missing City versus Man City. And on the right-hand side, we've got Inter offered Sanchez. And underneath that, we've got Iwobi Eyes Europa glory. Okay, let's start with Tottenham versus Liverpool. What's your initial take on that?
Well, good news for both teams. You know, coming back from the various deficits they faced to make it to the finals of the UCL. I think Liverpool was more difficult because there were 3 goals down. For Tottenham, all they needed to do was win away from home. Although, you know, not a 1-0 victory, a 2-1 victory would have seen them through. And I like the resolve that, you know, they showed when they went 2 goals down in the match itself, because that means there were 3 goals down on aggregate, but they were still able to respond by scoring 3 goals. And kudos to Lucas Moura, to everyone. You really can't fault the way Spurs played. You know, Son hit the woodwork. You had Vertonghen's header hitting the woodwork as well. They went all out to go for, to get it, and then they made it happen. So it's good news for English football at this time. 2 teams in the UEFA Champions League final. It means an English team will win a cup, and then you also have the prospect of having 2 English teams playing the Europa League final. Okay. So right now, European English football is on the rise, and that's kind of halted, you know, Spanish teams' dominance over the last 6 years.
All right, let's touch on this Iheanacho racist abuse.
Well, it's not a good one. That was the game against Leicester City against Manchester City on Monday, where he missed a sitter. And, you know, fans venting their frustrations and anger at him, especially those who were supporting Liverpool, you know, expecting Leicester to get a point in there. They went online and various, you know, racist abuses, you know, were made. So the PFA would investigate that and ensure that there's no repeat of that, you know, coming up again. In Wobbe eyes, Europa League glory with Arsenal. Arsenal have a task to do today. There are 3 goals to 1 up, and that's a 2-goal margin for them. So they need to make it happen. They shouldn't lose 2-0 because that will knock them out based on the way it goes. Is Arsenal capable of doing it? Yes, but their away form has been worrisome over, you know, the course of this season. So let's just hope that they make it happen. Chelsea as well in the mix. 1-1 away from home. Now they are home against entrant Frankfurt. You get a feeling that they will make it happen. So it's very likely we'll have 2 English teams in the Europa League final as well.
All right, what an analysis right there. Thank you very much, Samson. We've been listening to Samson Oloyede, our in-house analyst on sports. And that's where we're going to wrap up on this edition of Off the Press. We're back tomorrow with the latest headlines once again at precisely 8:30. If you'd like to join us, do so at 8:30 tomorrow, when we'll be back with all of the major headlines from the national dailies. I'm Tokunbo Taiwo saying good morning.